Good afternoon. So once again, I am here. So there is a slight change in the program. Now I will not be giving a lecture or I will not be giving a presentation because you had you have witnessed, heard and seen three very important presentations by the experts. Actually, it is not my area, sustainable tourism. It is the area of specialization of Dr. Madhuri Madam and Chandrasekhar Jaiswal sir. And we had an eminent personality, Dr. Vijay Diwan, who has given a lecture on tourism and biodiversity. So I'll just try to recollect some moments in my life which I have shared with these people. Now, Professor Vijay Diwan, when I was a small child, I was in 5th standard, and Diwan sir was teaching in SB College. So he had formed a Nisarga Mitra Mandal. You have seen in this presentation, Nisarga Mitra Mandal. So the time was 1980, year. So since 1980, he is working on that particular aspect of nature. And we as school children, we were attached to that. So since that time, we are just taking part in several activities which are conducted by the Nisarga Mitra Mandal. And again, we are having the nature clubs in our schools. So since that time, we are learning about the biodiversity, about the nature, how you should take care of the nature and how nature takes care of us. So all these things are going on since 1980. When I became a lecturer in the university in 1996, when I joined in the department, and when I started teaching, so that time the word sustainable tourism was very new. And already Madam has briefed you about that. What is the origin of the word and how sustainable tourism has developed, how it has evolved. Shekhar sir has also mentioned about that. So sustainable tourism is always there. And I want to just address some issues. I'll just take a very brief glimpse of that. I'll give you a brief glimpse of that. Like, why do we live? Or what is the criteria or what are the requirements for our living? Living a good life or a simple life. This we already know. Roti, kapda or makan. That are the basic needs. Roti, kapda and makan. After that, what do you have? Is it enough? My basic point or question to all of you. Roti, kapda and makan, is it enough for a person to live his life? And what do you require? Okay, education is there, everything is there. You have roti. Roti म्हणजे काय? रोटी कशावर तुम्ही बनवता? झाडावर येते का रोटी? मग रोटी बनवण्याला एक प्रक्रिया आहे. ती प्रक्रिया कुठे होते? आपल्याकडे बऱ्याचशा विद्यार्थिनी आहेत, आपल्या मॅडम्स आहेत, त्यांना सगळ्यांना चांगल्या प्रकारे माहिती आहे. किचनमधून सगळं ते प्रक्रिया होते. And the most important issue which I want to address today, along with roti, kapda and makan, we have water, petrol, gas and electricity. Only 4 points I am going to tell you, which are needed for the most essential things which we require to live our life. Without a gas, without kerosene, without electricity, you cannot make your roti. You cannot cook your food. So this particular energy is the most important energy. Now for the other things, we require water. Shekhar sir has already told you about the water. What is going to happen in the coming future? We might have heard about the water banks. Have you heard about the bank? Water bank. We have a blood bank. We have a sperm bank. But have you heard about the water bank? India's first water bank is there. A person has established a water bank. When he established this bank, people thought that he is a mad person. म्हणजे त्याला असं समजलं की हे वेडा माणूस आहे, पाण्याची कुठे बँक असते ती. What he did, he made a reservoir, a big tank, and he started to collect water through the natural sources. Now he is supplying that water on a commercial basis, like we get the water tankers. Like that, he is supplying the water, and he has predicted that in the future, thousands and lakhs of banks would be there. Some international leader or president of some state country, he has mentioned that the third world war would be there because of water. You might have again heard this. So these are the resources, natural resources. These are the energies which we require. And without these energies, we cannot sustain our life. So, as the tourism students and professionals, you know that these things are also required for the tourism. Like Mr. Harpreet Singh was there, he is a hotelier, he is a hotel management postgraduate. Since last 25 years, he is running his hotel, Amarpreet. He has again mentioned some of the things, or some of the things like the recycle, reuse of the energy, what techniques or what other things they have adopted in their hotels. But again, I want to raise a very important and very simple issue. How many hotels are there in Aurangabad? The number of approved hotels, we don't have the data. You go to the website of India Tourism, what do you find there? Like we have some approved hotels in Aurangabad. The number is below 10. There it is only 1 to 10. Not more than 10 approved hotels. All hotels are under the unapproved category. And under the unapproved category, what Mr. Harpreet was mentioning, it was for the approved hotels. They are following, they are investing money, and they are using all technologies like lighting, like light is, when you cross, the light will start, when you go, it will be off. This all technologies, these are the approved hotels, and the number is very few. And in the unapproved hotels, we don't have management. No sort of management is there. And we are just running and operating our hotels without these activities. So in other words, what we do, we are operating in the hotel sector, in the accommodation sector, the travel agencies, in the airlines, everywhere wastage of energy is there. And the experts have come up with the solutions, what should be done, how it should be done. So it is fine, but as practitioners, I think that it is not feasible. When you practice in reality, you have to make some other arrangements. So all these things, they just lie on paper. Whatever we have good ideas, we have good thoughts, but again, in a country like India, a huge country with 120 crore people living in that, we don't have enough fuel. You have seen that there was a hike in the rates of the petrol and the gases. Now there is a limit on the number of cylinders. Why it is going to happen? Why it is happening? Because we don't have that energy, gas. So all these things are there. Again, these are all connected to tourism. So I'll just end up here, and I will wish that when you become managers, when you will have some authority, that time you should take care of these things. You should try to understand these things. And we are again having the theme, that is tourism and sustainable energy, powering sustainable development. So I will end up with the word powering. So what is power here? So before me I have the manpower. So this is the real power. Without this manpower, without the help of this manpower, you cannot achieve anything. Whatever has to be achieved, it is through this manpower. So first we should build the manpower. The right man at the right place is the basic principle of management. That we should try to achieve. And then only we can do the other things. So with this, I will end my presentation.